Welcome to Latch Rack. By now, you're ready to start building your bike rack. First steps to do are get all your stuff out of your box, lay it out so you can see where everything's at. You have your upper bar and your lower bar. Your upper bar will actually have the bike lock inside of the tube. The padding is up here, also on your upper bar. You have your bracket sets, you have your pocket, you have your upper straps, you have your lower straps, you have your center support, and you have your hardware. Your hardware has two different styles of hardware. You have the L-shaped hardware, which is for all Toyotas and for the Ford Ranger. And then you have these two hardware for all the other trucks. You have a handful of caps, some with a spring, some that are flip cap, zip ties. And you also have a handful of tools that you're gonna need to build your bike rack. So you're gonna need a tape measure, you're gonna need two Allen wrenches that are a 4 and a 5. You will need a 13 wrench, and you will need a Phillips screwdriver. Once you have all those things ready, we'll start building the bike rack. All right, once you get everything out of your package and you see where everything's at, the best place to build your bike rack is on a flat level surface such as the ground. The way it starts is you have your bracket sets. You'll know this is your left bracket set because you have the key cylinder where it locks with your bike lock. Make sure that your upper tube and the bike lock is coming out of this side. It kind of has like a vase looking end. Make sure it's coming out and around the opposing side of where your lock is at so it connects properly. First, you start with sliding in your brackets. Make sure that your brackets have the wording on the outside and the hooks are pointed downward to the ground. That will help you know there's a left to right. You'll slide them in on each side a little bit, and you'll do the same thing with the lower bar. All right, just like that. Once you get it to this point, you will need to go to your truck and you're gonna measure your tailgate from outside latch to outside latch. Once you get that measurement, you will come in here and adjust your brackets inward until they match. We'll get that measurement now. All right, so measuring your tailgate, pretty simple. Find your latches on your tailgate. On a handful of trucks, they are built inside of the tailgate, and on a handful of trucks, they are built outside of the tailgate. So make sure you get to the outside of each latch. In this case, as we measure as they're built into the tailgate, we'll measure, it's 62, and you wanna just be a little over, about a little under ½ inch. So with Toyotas, they have a much smaller tolerance. And so when you're building your bike rack, make sure that you have very low tolerances between the two so it latches properly and goes all together properly. If you have any questions, feel free to call, but their tolerances are a lot lower. This style is a pin style, so where there's a little more slop and easement between each area. All right, so our measurement is 62 inches from outside latch to outside latch. You wanna have a little bit of leeway, so you add just a little under ½ inch, so it'll be 62 and a half for our Dodge truck. So what you'll actually measure is from certain brackets to the other side. You wanna make sure you use the bracket that has the square holes on the lower part. You wanna measure from the inside of that one to the inside of the other. And we are actually right on the money. And you do the same thing, follow that same bracket all the way along, and look at the same bracket, and this one we actually have to adjust slightly. So you'll slightly move them accordingly, make sure you're in the right places on the inside of each bracket, and slide them in and get them right. Once you're right, and once everything's where it belongs, you wanna make sure your bars look even, adjust them to make sure they're width-wise. They don't have to be perfect. The upper bar especially, it's actually better to have your upper bar not overly centered because it gives you a little more slack on your cable end. So if anything, you want to have the cable end a little bit shorter because it'll give you more slack on your bike lock. Once everything and your measurements are precise, then you'll tighten up your hardware with your number 4 Allen wrench. In your corners, you may have to flip the rack over. So what you'll do is you'll lock your rack, pull the pin and lock each side. You may need to roll it, again keeping it flat to access your areas to tighten your hardware. You'll come in here with your Allen wrench and tighten. So once you get everything tightened down and everything's precise so it's ready to fit fitment of your truck, you're gonna choose your hardware. Again, we have The 2 round ones are for pretty much all trucks. These 2 L-shaped brackets are for Toyotas and the Ford Ranger. So decide which truck you have and choose your hardware. In this version, I'm going to use and put on both just so you can understand how they work on each one. So we'll start with the simple one. It's very easy. You just go to the 1 end bracket, slide it through, and tighten it. Make sure they're pointed inward, as that's the direction that will latch into your tailgate. On the other side, I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way just so you can kind of see. You'll take the hardware and you're going to have a washer on here along with a carriage bolt, and you're going to have the washer stay on the carriage bolt side so you can kind of see that it's got, so it goes carriage bolt, washer. You go through the bracket and then end up putting it on the very top one so it extends past the bottom of the bracket. And on these ones, you finger tight, and on the other side, you will fully tighten. Let me finish that now. Once you have everything tightened down and ready to go, you'll grab your bike rack and we'll build the rest of it on the truck so you're not bent over. It's a little easier for you as well. So you grab the bike rack, make sure your hooks are pointed forward, your latches are pointed inward toward each other, and what you'll first do is you want to be centered most of the time. You'll step forward and you'll kind of angle it so the first hook hooks onto the one pin, the second hook will then hook onto the other, and you can simply let it down. So then you have your latches. After you get it rested on, you'll pull your latches forward so it latches around each side of your OEM latches. You'll then pull it towards you. You'll grab the top center. Again, it's all about being a little centered on this. You'll lift it and you'll drop it into your latches. Your latch that has the pin like this will just drop straight in, and that's already tightened. For the Toyota and Ford Rangers, you'll come to this side and you're going to have your latch pin. It's going to be a little loose, again, because we finger tightened it. And you want to make sure that as it drops into your latches, it is pointed straight up and down. So once you have that pointed straight up and down, you will simply grab your wrench and tighten it. So with the Toyota hardware, once you get it latched in, this is how it'll look. You want to make sure that once it latches downward, it is so it can point straight up and out. So next you'll grab your center support and you're going to simply wedge it between the upper and lower bar. You can do it at a different angle. You want to try to get it centered as you can. And once it's rested, you'll grab zip ties. They're very easy. You just push them through the hole. And you'll go up and around. And you don't want to make them overly tight, but snug on both top. The bottom you can tighten up a little more if you'd like, but to be honest with you, it's not going to make a huge difference. This will just give your rack a little bit of support while allowing it still to be flexible while supporting your bikes a lot better and taking away the energy. At this point, you're going to install your caps. So you have different caps. This cap has a spring, as you can see, and the one with the spring will go on the side with the lock to be able to push your lock forward. So just push it on. There's a hole in the cap as well as in the tube. And you'll just take your little screws. Don't overly tighten your screws as they're pretty small. Just snug them up. Your next cap that you're going to do is your flip cap, which will your bike lock will come out and through. And you'll push that on. Line up the holes and tighten as well. The two other caps will go on your lower tube, and you can just tighten those on, line up the holes, and you should be good to go. All right. Next, you have your upper straps to install. On larges, you're going to have 6 straps. On the smalls, you're going to have 5 straps. You have 2 different styles of 2 different lengths of strap to make each one single strap. So you have a long strap and you have short straps. The best way to do it is to grab your short strap and you try to line them up roughly about where your bike would sit in the rungs of the truck. So I do about every other rung, and that's about equal for most trucks. So what you'll end up doing is you'll grab your small strap, I put the tag in my left hand, and you'll go around, and you'll kind of roll the tag or push it up and through the other hole. And once you get it pulled through, they're a little tight in some areas, which is a good thing. It'll look like that, and you'll have your tag. The bottom will have a little lip right here to kind of keep it bound, and then your tag will be facing to where your bike would sit right here in the middle. And then you'll grab the long strap and do the same thing. You'll go around the bar and up and through, tighten it down. And if sometimes you get them backwards a little, you can just kind of roll the strap inside so that way they're consistent with each other. You'll grab your J clasp and then you'll feed it all the way through and down. This is what holds your down tube, or the upper part of your bike. As it comes around, it'll loop into the other side, or the small one, which will make your loop and go around your bike, such as that. And you'll do that all 5 or 6 times across the bar, the upper bar. And once you've gotten to that point, then we'll do the lower. Here's the next step. After you get all your uppers ready and put together, and they're about roughly where you put them on for your truck rack, it's all up to you guys. You guys can put all of them on. If you only carry 3 bikes, put on 3 sets, space them out where you want. They don't have to go in specific places. Build it to what you guys like. The lower straps, on the other hand, they don't completely go underneath where your upper straps will go. And the best way to do these is when you pull them out of the bag, they are really kind of a sticky rubber and really tacky. This sounds crazy, but if you get a handful of a little bit of dirt and you just wipe a little bit of dirt into them, they're a lot smoother and they work a whole lot better. They will wear in after a little bit of time, but that's a better way of doing it. The way they end up going on is you take the clasp and you hold it so it's L-shaped. You'll go around the bar. You'll take the bottom tip, and this is where you go right up tight next to the rubber as well. You'll push it up through. And once you get to there, you'll go back down through the second gap. And you'll get each one, and all 6 on this rack, tied to go. These are adjustable as well. They're really sticky. You can tighten them even tighter if you'd like, but they're adjustable. So you put them right roughly about where you want them. They roughly go in between where the uppers go, is roughly about where they go. But as you put on your different bikes, smaller bikes, big wheeled bikes, they will slide back and forth to fit your bike perfectly. Now, very last, you're gonna grab your pocket. Now this is pretty easy going on. The way it's set up and built, you're gonna get all your straps so they're hanging forward, so your Velcro strip has nothing in front of it. And you're gonna center it the best you can across the front. Try to make sure the Velcro is perfectly aligned across the top. And it'll go all the way down. It won't meet the very end, so you can't start on one end because of how that's built. You want it a little bit thinner. And you'll push the Velcro, kind of finish it all the way up across the top. Once you get it, kind of give it a little push, and then throw your straps over the top, trying to avoid from going in the center if you can. Once you get the Velcro done, you'll take the lower strap and you'll go around the bar, and you'll use the clasp or the strap on the other side, and you go through both and then down through one. And snug it up. Again, you don't want to overly tight, don't crank down on it like crazy, just nice and snug. And do that with all 5. Through each one and down. All right, at this point you have your rack built and ready to ride. So either get your bikes and go for a spin, or put it away because it comes on and off in seconds. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out, as we're happy to help you in any way, shape, or form. And if you FaceTime, we are also happy to help you with that. So essentially, going on and off, just as easy. Grab the tailgate handle, roll it around. Coming off, just as simple. And you're ready to go. Back to life.